You know what I used to really hate about going to school? All of a sudden, you would get this pop quiz from one of the teachers. So I got a question. 2 games in, are the wide receivers underperforming?
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube, wherever you want to download your podcast, you know the show is always free, and you know how much I always appreciate your support. Today's episode is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy. Go to the number 5hourenergy.com and use promo code LOCKEDONCFB to receive 20% off your order. Look, I said it. I know we're only 2 games in, and it sounds like I'm probably looking for something to complain about. I'm not, but little reality check maybe. Let's play a little game of what if, right? Not call it a pop quiz. It's not a wrong answer. It's not a right answer. It's you tell me what you think, and I'll let you know if I agree or if I disagree, where we might meet in the middle. So again, let's play a little game of what if. And I asked about the wide receivers specifically. Let me narrow it down even further. What if I said USC's sophomore wide receivers are underperforming? Would you agree or disagree? I think everyone believes USC's, at least the perceived strength of USC's offense. If you were to pick a room, everybody would say wide receiver room. Just way too much talent, especially the underclassmen. I'm talking about, Zachariah Branch and Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane and Deuce Robinson. I'll tell you what, through the first 2 games so far this season, it's been veteran wide receiver Kyron Hudson. To a lesser extent, Kyle Ford has had a big play. And tight end Lake McCree. Those are the 3 who have kind of been stealing the spotlight away from those 4 super sophomores who we thought were just going to blow up, be the dudes. And they probably are still going to be. They are still the dudes. They're still going to have big seasons. But let me put things into context for you right now. Those 4 sophomores that everyone was anticipating big seasons from, so far, combined, 4 of them, 19 catches, 235 yards. Now, they do have both of the passing touchdowns this year. So far, USC has only thrown 2 touchdowns through the air in 2024. Jacoby Lane had the one against LSU. Mekhi Lemon, he got his against Utah State late in the first half. Remember, he was doing all that dancing, avoiding tackles, got it in 6 yards away. Those are your 2 touchdowns through the air so far. Now, again, to put those numbers into context between 4 guys, Kyron Hudson, Lake McCree, they've combined for 15 receptions, 236 yards. Yeah. See, you understand where I'm going with that? During USC's 48-0 shutout of Utah State, can't say that enough, Miller Moss threw just that 1 touchdown pass that I described to Mekhi Lemon. But do you remember what Miller said after that game? My everydayers do. But let me remind people who might have missed it. Quote, the offensive line played their butts off. They kind of showed itself in the balance that we had offensively. Really proud of those guys and how they played up front. But skill players, myself included, we've got to clean some stuff up. So what Miller was describing was a balanced offense. You had 295 yards through the air. They ran for another 250 yards. I love that. You give me that every game, I'm a happy camper. But something else I love is when players are candid. They don't try and play those mental gymnastics games, trying to make sure they're not saying the wrong thing. This is why Eric Gentry is one of my favorite guys to interview, whether it's after practice or after game. He just, whatever's in his hip, he just shoots from there. And I love it. It's gold. So Miller was a little bit of the same way. Hey, I'm going to throw myself under the bus. I'm going to throw my wide receivers under the bus, but I'm not going to say the wide receivers. When he says the skill players, including myself, you knew exactly who he was referring to. Definitely wasn't talking about the running game. He said the offensive line played their butts off. So it kind of narrows it down. Against Utah State, I would say the Trojans probably should have had at least 2 more touchdowns through the air. But, a couple of easy drops. And it was by it's by 2 guys who should know better. We give a lot of praise to Jacoby Lane. We give a lot of praise to Zachariah Branch. They'll be the first to tell you they were lackadaisical on those 2 plays. They were lazy. They were unfocused because there's no reason either one of those passes should have been dropped. So that's what Miller was talking about as far as cleaning things up with the skill position players. Remember, Miller, he had his own, we'll call it miscue. Not really a mistake because the play was completed. But remember the flea flicker? How the pass was short? Had the ball been thrown with enough oomph on time? Touchdown. Guy walks into the end zone. There was nobody back there in coverage. That's how badly they were beat. It happens. I'm not mad. Just kind of pointing things out how there's still work to be done on offense. We love the way the offensive line is producing in the run game. We love the way Woody Marks and the running backs, Quentin Joyner, Brian Jackson, Amarian Peterson, how they looked against Utah State. They improved from the game against LSU. So again, I think once the team cleans up the little things, those sophomore wide receivers, they'll start taking their shine back. Don't get me wrong. I want to see Lake McCree catching 4 to 5 passes per game. That should be the standard, especially at that position. There's a reason why USC's offense has looked so good and why they've been so hard to defend. Because you're incorporating all the pieces. The running game, thank you. The tight ends, thank you. And of course, the wide receivers are going to always be a big staple in any Lincoln Riley offense. So look, you got Kyron Hudson, you got Kyle Ford, you got some other veterans, you got Jay Fair, transfer from Auburn, Jaden Richardson, the transfer from Tufts. Am I forgetting? I apologize. Forgive me. I'm trying to do it off the top of my head. But essentially, you want to make sure those 4 sophomore guys that they recruited, that were the cream of the crop, those are the guys that need to just pick their game up just a little bit. Prove to everybody that, hey, you know what? Those guys who were voting preseason on the 10 best wide receiver groups in the country, don't prove them right by doing what you're doing. Step up, make a play, make it happen. You got this bye week to work it out. And then you got another week of practice before you get to Ann Arbor, Michigan. That's probably a good place to have a coming out party, I think. National audience. So are they underperforming? Yeah, I guess you can define it that way. But then again, you know what? If the running game's working and the tight end game is working, make Miller throw you the ball. Catch those easy touchdown passes. Don't just make the hard catches. Leave those for Kyron. I want to see these 4 sophomores. I want to see Deuce Robinson. I want to see Jacoby Lane. I want to see Mekhi Lemon. I want to see Zachariah Branch. I want to see those guys just going ham all over everybody. Scare the living bejesus out of opposing defenses, out of the secondaries, out of those opposing defensive coordinators. Make Wink Martindale wink twice. That's the next defensive coordinator USC is going up against. Who, by the way, USC's defensive coordinator, D'Anton Lynn, he knows a little bit about Wink Martindale. We're going to talk about D'Anton Lynn in the 3rd segment. Next segment, I've got some more recruiting news for you. Check this out. Hey, Locked On USC fans. I want to take a moment to give you a heads up on a brand new mobile game that I think you're going to love. It's called the Ultimate College Football Head Coach. It's this really cool game. And it lets you step into the shoes of and be a head coach. You want to be USC's head coach one day? You don't have to wait. You can do it now. Imagine being the Trojans head coach. You get to recruit players. You get to hire your own coaching staff. You want to hand out scholarships? Go for it. You're going to control every single detail of your program, and it's all in your hands. You think you can handle the pressure? A lot of it. Ultimate College Football Head Coach is completely free. It has no ads, and it is 100% playable offline. That's right. You can play on the go as you want and when you want. Use promo code LOCKEDONCFB. That's all capital letters inside the game store to receive a free boost to your program. Make sure to take advantage of this perk as it will get your team off to a strong start. To download the game, just visit theultimatecfb.com. Again, that's ultimate-cfb.com, or look it up in the app stores. That's the Ultimate College Football Head Coach. Begin your coaching legacy today. I told you I had some more recruiting news. If you watched yesterday's episode of Locked on USC, you heard about USC getting a linebacker. I got more on that. But first, I want to tell you about this. Anyone know the name Jerome Miles? Best wide receiver in the state of Utah, maybe in America. Miles is considered the number 42 overall prospect and the number 8 wide receiver in the entire 2025 recruiting cycle, according to On3. On3 tends to be a little conservative with their rankings, just to give you an idea. So, yes, I say he's probably the best wide receiver in America. 6'3", 215 pounds. You like fast? Well, he's fast. He runs a 10.3. That's pretty fast, right? I don't know. Maybe you saw him play against IMG Academy. Miles plays for Corner Canyon. That's the same high school that Jackson Dart went to. Miles went crazy. I think the youngins that you guys said, he went ham all over former USC defensive back commit Dominic Kelly at IMG. IMG is a boarding school for athletes. That's exactly what it is. There's no other way to describe it. You pay big time dollars to get developed by some of the best coaches, regardless of the sport you play. And you're probably going to end up getting a scholarship to play somewhere. Again, whatever sport you're in. IMG Academy. They usually have top flight football programs, is my point I'm trying to make. Well, all Miles did was, again, go for 125 yards and 3 touchdowns against what's considered one of the best cornerbacks in the country. Didn't look like it on that day. Well, Miles took an official visit to USC over the weekend. He watched a 48-0 shutout against a team from Utah. He was obviously really impressed with what he saw because, that was his official visit. He's now on commitment watch, just like Ty Jackson committed after this weekend. All of a sudden, all the insiders, recruiting insiders, national guys, they are putting in predictions. They heard something. If you needed another reason why that you should be a subscriber here to Locked on USC, which is free, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, click that red subscribe button, smash that thumbs up button, click that bell notification. That way you're not going to miss a single episode, and you're going to be up to date on everything you need to know about USC, football, basketball, whatever. But if you want to get some really cool nuggets, stuff that I hear about over on my other place, WRSC.com, part of the On3 network, you might have heard that, you know the name Steve Wiltfong? He's a national insider, recruiting insider for the On3 network. One of the best national insiders. He does not make predictions unless his confidence level is like super duper strong. And by super duper strong, I mean he heard it from a source who would know. Well, Steve flipped his commitment from Utah, his prediction from Utah to USC. That's a good sign. You know what else is a good sign? Scott Schrader. He's another one of those insiders. He's a friend of the show. He comes on all the time. Not only did Scott Schrader change his prediction, but he broke out the Tiger Woods GIF. I think it's pronounced GIF. Tell me, how is it pronounced? Soft G, hard G. Anyways, if you know the Tiger Woods GIF that I'm referring to, it's because you are a subscriber to WRSC.com. It's that one where he's, and if you're old enough, you remember Fonzie going, pow, wow. Well, when Scott puts that GIF file out there, his confidence level is more than super duper. USC is waiting for a commitment, is what I'm trying to tell you without telling you. Miles was actually committed to Ole Miss, and he decommitted back on June 24th. That's when everyone said, oh, you know what? He's going to Utah. Utah made him an offer he couldn't refuse. They're playing good football. It's the home state. And when you're the best player from your home state, NIL steps up. USC will be fine there as well. But I think Miles likes what he's seeing. So he has a commitment date that's set for October 30th. That commitment date is including the finalists of Georgia, Ohio State, Texas A&M, Utah, and USC. I can tell you right now, 3 of those 5 are not even being considered. This is a USC-Utah battle. And I can also tell you this, he's not going to wait until October 30th to pull the trigger. That's why we're talking about it today on this episode of Locked On USC. After the game Saturday, I mentioned Ty Jackson, the linebacker, he committed right after his official visit. He was super psyched. He saw it. He saw that proof of concept on the field that we've been talking about. Why USC has had to work extra hard recruiting defensive players. They had to see it. I'm telling you right now, USC, their coaches, their phones, their text messages, they're blowing up. Hey, coach, I'm still interested. Just want to make sure you're aware of it. That's the type of stuff that's going on behind the scenes right now. So Ty Jackson committed, and now this update. I'm talking about the wide receiver. I mean, yeah. Jerome Miles, that would be a super big pull. Huge pull. 6'3", 215, runs like a deer. Those don't grow on trees. Look, for what it's worth, while I'm recording this episode, while I'm taping, he might have committed. I've got my alerts on. It hasn't come across, so we're okay right now. We'll see what happens. But this is what Jerome had to say. Actually, I take that back. I wanted to kind of give you a little bit more on why Ty Jackson committed. Quote, and this is not from Ty specifically, this is from his father. It was basically the defensive staff as a whole, them doing their presentation. You have to show improvement on the field, but their resumes and what they bring to the table as far as the NFL experience, from Lynn to Coach Eric Henderson, to step back down to USC and prepare these guys for the next level and make sure they're prepared for the next level and fully know their position. It's a great position to put yourself in, being taught by guys from where you're trying to go. So Jackson's dad is talking about USC's coaching staff coming back to the college level to develop his son to get him to go to the NFL level. You have to want that. You have that location, obviously. It's a big difference to compare it with a college town. That stuck out and was attractive. He ultimately was feeling it, felt at home. So that's Ty Jackson's dad explaining why Ty felt the need to pull the trigger. Jerome Miles obviously felt a lot of that. We'll find out why he could eventually commit to USC. And when that happens, if there's some quotes, I'll have those for you on one of these next episodes of Locked On USC. Like I said, don't hold your breath. He ain't waiting until October 30th. It's going to happen well before Halloween. So, assuming that happens, you've got Ty Jackson, linebacker, which, by the way, before I summarize USC's commitment class, 19 of them for the class of 2025, USC's linebacker class starting to look pretty good. Check this out. You've got 4-star. If you're into the stars, you got 4-star Matai Tagovailoa. He's considered the 82nd best player nationally, the number 7 linebacker in the country. You've got 4-star Ty Jackson, I'm talking about here, from the state of Florida. He's considered the number 25 player nationally, the number 1 linebacker. And then you've got 4-star linebacker Jaden Perlow, the number 204 national, the number 21 linebacker. Hey, you've got 3 top 25 linebackers in the class. And again, I don't care about the star rankings. I care about the programs that are recruiting these players, and every single one of those players are being recruited by the top programs in the country, whether it's in the SEC, the big conference, the ACC, The Big 12 doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. USC got their commitment. That's what matters. USC wants these guys. And if you like the way USC's defensive coaches are coaching, you would think they probably have a good eye for talent as well. So no complaining. Don't say, well, where are the 5 stars? Are you not happy? Are you not satisfied? Are you not being entertained by this USC defense? Yeah, I pulled that line from the movie. Are you not entertained? You should be. By the way, so you got those 3 linebackers. They're still chasing 2 more. Madden for Ramo. I told you about Nathaniel Owusu-Boateng, how jacked he was after he saw those 2 games. Like I said, when USC is winning and they look good, that's their best recruiting tool. NIL will be there. All those other resources will be there. If USC continues to play defense the way they are, other defensive players, including local ones from California, can say, you know what? I don't need to go anywhere else. I like that staff. All right. Let me remind everybody, with Ty Jackson's commitment, USC has 19 guys in their 2025 class. There's no more cap of 25. The cap is 85 scholarship players on a roster, and even that number's changing. I'm not sure what it's jumping up to, but you can't over-recruit anymore, especially with the transfer portal. So you've got your quarterback, Juju Lewis. You've got offensive lineman, Carday Smith. You've got offensive lineman, Willie Washer. You've got offensive lineman, Elijah Vicona, which, by the way, if you're watching the show or if your mom's watching the show, thanks for saying hello at the game. Not allowed to talk to recruits on campus or at games. I wasn't trying to be rude. I apologize. Wide receiver, Corey Sims. Wide receiver, Tanuk Hines. Wide receiver, Romero Eisen. Running back, Harry Dalton. Running back, Riley Wormley. You have athlete, DeJuan Morris. You have edge, defensive end, Hayden Lowe. Defensive end, Gus Cordova. And I mentioned the linebackers, Matai Tagoai, Jaden Perlot. Cornerback, Tristan Castro. And cornerback, Shamar Arnu. That's Juju's teammate down there at Carrollton. So you got 19 guys, more on the way, definitely a lot more on the way. I'll keep you updated with all the recruiting news as it comes across. So in this next segment, I'm talking about the defense. Okay. Been telling you how excited everybody is. They're excited to see the Trojan Standard. Well, the Trojan Standard it's not how you play. It's the D'Anton Lynn way. If you're playing that way, you're meeting the Trojan Standard. And I'll explain further in just a minute. You know I hate Mondays. They're rough. And I will tell you right now, I'm recording this episode Monday evening. I'm glad Monday is over. Forget lunch when 70% of us get tired when we hit that wall. I didn't even get lunch today. And by the time I was done dealing with AT&T and my personal hotspot issue, I needed more energy. I needed a 5-hour energy shot. They needed to get me over the hump. I needed it big time. Did you know that 5-hour energy has 0 sugar? It comes in a convenient portable size. Yeah, it's the perfect pick-me-up for getting stuff done. Go to their website. The 5-hour energy website has every single flavor you can conceive. They've got watermelon. They got berry. They got grape. They got tropical burst. I'm not sure what that is, but it sounds really good. And on their site, you even have the option. Check this out. You want a 12-pack? Build it. You want a 24-pack? Build it. Mix and match your flavors. You choose, and they're going to deliver it right to your front door. All you have to do is go to 5hourenergy.com. That's the number 5hourenergy.com and get some 5-hour energy product today. And if you use my promo code LOCKEDONUSC, you'll get to receive 20% off your order. Use your energy now. The offer is only valid until September 30th, and it's only valid on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Go to the number 5hourenergy.com today and order yours. Look, I hated talking about USC's defense last year. I know you guys hated watching it. You hate hearing about it. I had to talk about it. You guys could at least have avoided it. Not part of my job description. I got to tell you about it. In 2022, it was doable. Everyone kind of said, all right, you know what? USC's creating all these turnovers, and Caleb Williams was a hamstring pull away from, getting USC to the playoffs. We were able to deal with the defense in 2022. Not so much in 2023. Look, I get it. Some of you still have PTSD from last year. Get over it. Take a pill. Listen to the show. I'll be your Sherpa. I'll guide you through the light. I'm here for you. But look, I need you to accept this fact. It's true. You know how good USC's defense is this year? I mentioned it on yesterday's episode of Locked on USC. This is why you need to become an everyday listener. The USC defense through 2 games has yet to allow a first down on any third down of 7 yards or more. Nobody's converting those long third and whatevers. But you know what else I love about USC's defense this year? I love the way they play. I love their attitude. Obviously, the results on the field. By the way, let me interject this little footnote real quickly. I got some really interesting news today from a very good source. Really good source. Let me just say this. It doesn't matter how much NIL you make. If you want playing time, you better have that dog work mentality. And you better be willing to do it the D'Anton Lynn way. You're not going to see the field. No matter if you're the best defensive player, best offensive player, you better be pulling your weight. You better be making that effort. I might address this situation at another time. Right now, I just wanted to throw that out there that Coach Lynn, that coaching staff on the defensive side of the ball, they ain't showing favorites. So there's your hint. Talking about a defensive player. Monday night, Coach Lynn was on the Trojans Live radio show. Every Monday they do that. Last week it was Coach Riley. This week, Coach Lynn. Talking about the defense. He should. It's been the talk of the town. D'Anton Lynn said, this is what he said, the D'Anton Lynn way of playing defense, he didn't say this. That's the Trojan Standard. That's the way he sees it. And this is how he describes the Trojan Standard. The effort from the beginning of the game all the way until the end. And regardless of who was in the game, we told those guys at the end, the Trojan Standard is the standard. I don't care if you're a senior or a freshman, starter or a third string player. If you're in the game, the standard is the same. So I was just impressed that the guys played at the same level, regardless of who was in the game. He's obviously reflecting back on the shutout. The younger guys, the third stringers who were playing to seal that shutout. Part of that, finger quotes, Trojan Standard includes respecting the opponent, right? And you got to play Utah State with the same respect and play just as hard as if that was LSU out on the field. Coach Lynn also talked about the defensive line and how consistent they've been. Quote, really, just consistency. When you strike blocks, when you're able to gap and a half, when you're doing that consistently inside, that affects the way our linebackers play. That affects the way our DBs play. And that allows those guys just to play fast. So the more consistent we can be in there up front, which they have so far through the first 2 games, the better off we're going to be. Close the quote. That's all about synergy. Everyone at all 3 levels playing in concert with one another. That's what he's talking about, the Trojan Standard. It's not just up front. Everybody's got to do their job. He's talking about the physicality from the entire defense has been the biggest difference. I take that back. The reason they've been able to be physical, right, showing up so much, because they're in the right spot at the right time. To be physical, they're being put in a position to be successful, and they're doing their job. And they're doing their job at the linebacker and in the secondary because those dudes up front are doing their jobs. The linebackers are USC's leading tacklers. Again, that's how it's supposed to look. Your linebacker should always lead the team in tackles. It shouldn't be a safety or a cornerback. If your defensive line's making all the tackles, the That's a unicorn. That's really good, especially if it's in the run game. That's not supposed to happen. If your defensive line's making all the tackles in the run game, you've got a damn good defense. Period. End of story. Thread. Here's I want to put the linebackers how well they're doing into context. Eric Gentry, he leads the team with 14 tackles. Easton Mascarenas Arnold, second, 13. As far as big plays, USC has not given up a lot of those yet this year. Last year, they gave up a lot of big plays. That was the number, a lot. If you look it up, it says big plays allowed by USC's defense, a lot. Coach Lynn was asked about what is a big play. For me, anything double digit is big play. If they hit a 10-yard run, to me, that's an explosive play. Sean Cody is one of the hosts of the Trojans live radio show. When he played at USC, he said, when he played defense, he said 13 yards was the big play benchmark. Coach Lynn said, well, the Trojan Standard now is 10 yards. And I could have swore. Coach Lynn kind of stared Sean Cody down, and I think I saw Sean go into the fetal position. Not really. But that's the standard. Improving. Don't give up a 10-yard. Don't give up a first down. That's a big play. I like Coach Lynn a lot. Love the way he talks, the way he describes things, and obviously the way his guys are responding. That's the bottom line. All right. That's it for this episode of Locked On USC. Oh, by the way, new router installed. No problems tonight so far. Thank you guys for being patient. I really do appreciate it. As much as it bothered you, I promise you, it bothered me more because I know it's bothering you. So until that next episode of Locked On USC, you know what to do. And don't forget, get on over to WRSC.com. And don't forget, check out Locked On's college football. Spencer McLaughlin, he's got you covered. He will talk about everything USC football, talk about everything college football. I'll see you on the next episode. Take care.